"I'm sorry," he said, sobbing. I can't calmly remember her voice. You know, she still called me brother so affectionately, even when she got older. "Don't tell me if it makes you suffer," I said as gently as possible. "No, please, listen. I must speak out, I beg you." I did not aggravate his torment by refusing and agreed to continue listening. I then asked her, "Do you want to go?" And she immediately agreed. In fact, when I asked her, I hoped she would refuse, because I don't like circuses terribly. They always terrified me, but for my sister's sake I overcame myself and agreed to go. The circus is located outside the city, in a wooded area. At first we took the train, and then walked through the forest on foot. It was summer then, the weather was wonderful, it was evening, and therefore we experienced only the pleasure of a forest walk. At the circus, I had to exert considerable willpower to suppress all the negative emotions that one kind of tent caused me. The little sister, on the contrary, was full of joy. How old was she then? 16. Yes, a 16-year-old girl who loves circuses. We went inside, sat on a bench and waited for the show to start. A few minutes before the start, all those who came were given small red pieces of paper, where some figure was written. My sister and I had the same number, 4. The performance began, and an entertainer came on stage, reminding me of something of the Joker from the comics. Funny, isn't it? Henry smiled. The whole show lasted about 2 hours. At the end, this Joker came on stage again and said that the circus was holding a competition, and everyone should now look at their papers that they had received before the performance. Then the entertainer said that all those whose papers have the number 4 written on them are the winners in the qualifying round and should immediately go on stage to participate in the competition. I didn't like it right away, and I wanted to leave, but my sister was so happy and wanted to participate so much that I suppressed all my negativity again and even smiled when I went on stage. Besides us, 2 more people came out. We were lined up in a row, and the entertainer announced that a contest had been invented for each participant. The entertainer approached the first of our row. It was a man of about 30, and announced that for him the competition was eating cakes for a while. To the applause, several clowns brought a table, a chair and a huge plate with lots of cream cakes to the stage. The contestant immediately began to eat cakes, and the entertainer moved on to the next participant, a young girl whose competition consisted in blindfolding her and alternately bringing different animals to lick her hands. The girl has to guess these animals. The whole sight irritated me more and more every moment. I absolutely did not want to participate in these contests or be there at all. Henry sighed and continued. Maybe it was worth just grabbing my sister and running from there. After the girl, it was my sister's turn. She had to dance in a circle of girls dancing with ribbons, while she had to not get entangled in these ribbons. Then this damn entertainer came up to me, but before he could open his mouth, I immediately told him, practically growled, "Get away from me, bastard." The presenter was not confused, but only joked that I needed to wash my mouth with soap. This will be my competition. 2 clowns came up to me and wanted to take me by the shoulders, but I broke away. My anger got out of control. I wanted to go outside to calm down, but the clowns were blocking my way. They tried to catch me and carry out the task of the entertainer, but I violently pushed them apart and ran out from under the tent, tripped and fell right to the ground. The performance started at 6 in the evening, and it was supposed to end at 8, but once I was outside, I realized that it was already the middle of the night. Time flew by completely unnoticed. My sister and I could not catch the train, so I turned around to go back to the tent, but he was no longer there. Henry couldn't hold back the tears anymore. He put his head in his hands, and his sobs filled the room. It was only after I injected him with a sedative that he managed to stop sobbing. I decided that it was unprofessional of me to torment a person like that, and I told him to go to bed, but he practically begged me to listen to him, and, without knowing why, I agreed. The tent was gone, and in its place I saw only a few large torches, illuminating. Oh my God, Henry again covered his face with his hands. I know you won't believe that such a thing is even possible, but then there, among the torches, I saw a crowd of half-decomposed corpses instead of circus actors. Bones protruded from their rotten flesh, which was swarming with worms. Now I saw that the man who ate cakes for a while was not fed cakes at all. These corpses tore off pieces of flesh from themselves and stuffed them into that man's mouth, and he greedily swallowed the disgusting pieces. With the girl, everything was the opposite. The living semi-skeletal remains themselves ate her, and she just laughed and said, "Oh, that's like a dog. Ha ha ha, and this is probably a goat." At first I experienced only shock, but when my gaze reached my sister, the cold paws of fear squeezed my fervently beating heart and threw it into the black waters of despair. My sister, my beloved, the only one for whom I have lived for the last 8 years, was lying dead on the ground, and these creatures were slashing her body with huge knives. When I saw this, my mind dissolved, my vision blurred, and, not feeling my own body, I fell to the ground. When I woke up in the morning, I immediately ran to report the incident to the police. I told them everything I saw. What a fool I was. I couldn't even think about how the police would take my words. I can imagine how it looked from the outside. Some crazy guy leads the police to 3 corpses and says that these people were killed by a troupe of rotten circus performers. Do I need to tell you that I was recognized as a murderer, and even insane, although, probably, this is just for the best. They say it's better here than in the zone. Henry looked with his tired eyes into mine, and said, "Now you know how I got here." I didn't find anything to say to him, so I just gently patted him on the shoulder and offered to rest. When I left his room, the head nurse came up to me and asked why I had been messing with Henry for so long. "Yes, we had a little conversation with him," I replied. "What is it about?" The head nurse asked suspiciously. "Just about anything," I said vaguely. "Strange. Apparently, he liked you. He usually doesn't talk to anyone." I didn't find out anything else about Henry from him or anyone else. I worked at that hospital for a few more months, and during that time Henry and I almost became friends. It's been a few months since I changed hospitals. I no longer deal with psychiatric hospital patients, but I still go back to Henry in my memory and reflect on his story. Is this the delirium of a madman? My mind can't believe it, but apart from this story, Henry no longer has symptoms of insanity. I don't know if it's true or not, but since then I've been trying to avoid circuses. Just in case.